11, 12, 13. I'm guessing this is live. I can't see anything. Yeah, because I'm standing here in my car trying to figure out how to go live because this is the first one. Now I have to set you back on the holder and click a light on. Set everything straight. Put you down. Oh, it's on me. That's why. Stupid. I can't see anything still because it's on me. There. Now you're out into the universe. Sitting on the hood of my truck while I put my mittens back on. Start up my other light. There. Okay, D, I guess I'm live. And I gave you options, but you're sick and watching your movie. Probably sleeping by now. But these right here are the no-no woods. And this is across the street from the no-no woods where I can't get in the summertime. So I'm gonna go out into here. And because it's so full of poison ivy in the summertime, there's no real trail out here. I don't think there's a trail over here at all. Kyle! There are people that do walk around, so this might be partial people tracks. Doesn't feel it under my feet too much. If it is, it's small. I'm gonna walk out where somebody has made a trail like I have through the other woods. Now this goes back down in here over towards the big swamp. The same swamp, because down the road in that direction, on that road right there, but down the road is the nursery woods, and go hit the end of the road and take a right, and then my house is right there. Like I said, that's the no-no woods on the other side. They're bigger woods. This is just a smaller piece of woods. People have walked down in here. Most people turn left. So I guess there is an old Jeep trail down through there. But I'm going to bring you down the hill. I'm not walking where anybody walks. I'm walking down here where the animals walk. Let me go down near the swamp so you can see. Like I told you in a different video, this goes down a hill at the widest part, maybe 150 yards. And then gets down here in the flat where right here you can see these mounds. Back in World War II, this was an ammunition plant across the road from me, and the bunkers are down the road where you hear that car right there. Down the road is the bunkers that I was at that one time. But you can see these mounds right here that they did in World War II. And they would fire live mortar shells that would explode out into that big swamp from here. This little hill here goes up to where the road is, and the swamp is over here. But I wanted to show you the little U-shaped classic World War II machine gun pits from this side. Now you can see where the people would be. One inside there, one inside there, one inside right over here, see? So in case any of those mortar shells blew up on the ground before they fired them, or anything bad happened, it wouldn't kill everybody out here, just the people in the one little pit. And I'm going to see weird tracks out here because the as you can tell, it just keeps snowing 3 or 4 inches, and deer walk around. People do walk through here. They're actually rabbit hunting right now, I think. Owl prickers. Let go. I can't really get lost in here. I'll give you a real sense of where the swamp really starts. There's no walking through that as a human. It is just a wall of brambles and thickets. There are some really, really big trees in here. The state did not come on this side of the road to cut it all down. Dead quiet. And like Dee likes to point out, here Dee, that poison ivy vines is big around as my arm at the ground, but this is nothing but poison ivy and poison oak during the summertime. No way I'm going to come out here. It's a little bit more difficult to hold this thing with mittens. Okay. Let's see. The little live button is still lit, so. I went out on Thursday. This is now Saturday night. Dee's supposed to be live, but she's sick. And I told her I would do my first live out here just to make her feel better. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but on Thursday I said I was just walking around the nursery trying to figure out in my head what exactly am I looking for out here. I want to say I'm looking for Bigfoot and or a dog man. If it doesn't tear me apart, I still want to see one. I don't think they're bloodthirsty monsters, really. There's some leaned sticks right there that don't belong anything above it. TP broken off thing. I am not seeing any of that little small, see these big trees here, there's none of the little small sticks leaned against them over here that I can see. And at the moment, I'm not seeing any big log structures either. There's a little bit of stuff right there, but that's it. La la la. Don't want I'm not really going to get disoriented in here. Like I said, it's kind of small, not going to get lost. But it goes down into this little shallow spot here. I'm trying to get it around. And then there's one more little hump. What the hell was that? Oh. One more little hump out here. But like I said on Thursday in my nursery, either Bigfoot is a actual cryptid live being that is from this world, and if so, the only thing I can believe is, like bears, they hibernate, or like birds, they migrate to get away from the harsh winters around here. Here's a tree bend. But around here it's hard to tell if that type of a tree bend is actually from them or from the amount of snow and vines. See the vines dragging this tree over? Those are vines from the ground. That does happen. Hard to tell sometimes what's making all of that. So I'm going to go underneath this. Now, I've always called them fairy doorways. I don't know this thing right here. This little tree that's being pulled down to the ground by either poison ivy, poison oak, or grapevines. I've always called them fairy doorways, and for some reason I like walking through them, and I probably should not. Let's see. What else we got here? There's a little bit in here. There's a little bit of this pine forest. I don't know if we can see it yet. I'm almost to it. And there are some very large pine trees down in here. Kyle! Whoop! Let's see. There is some fresh tracks in the snow that looks like they're from today. I'm gonna call them deer. Definitely deer. And you see how the walking, I call it the lazy walk. Right here you can see the, oops, get too close in here, you can see the refresh rate of the camera. If you get too close to the bright light, see what happens? Okay. Dee had that happen on her video, but on my videos I've already debunked that if you get too close to a bright light, the refresh rate on your camera shows up like that. But that is definitely deer, no doubt. Looks like today, but the dragging, what I call the lazy foot, that is a buck. And I know that people will fight me on that, but that's what happens. People like to fight about things. If I was going to be hunting and follow deer trails and try to walk down a deer, which is very difficult. If I was going to walk down a deer, it would be in the snow. It would be a lazy track deer, because those are signs of a buck. And a more mature buck, not a young one. I just saw Now this is what I'm talking about, the impenetrable forest here. We're looking up a little mound right here, and that is about waist height right there. But do you see how just amazingly thick that is? I could crawl through there if I didn't have $2,000 worth of equipment. There is a spot right there that looks like the deer go up through that little slot all the time. That's kind of like the mound on the side of that pathway that you go up, D, right there. And then there's a little V where they always walk through there, but it's not really open tall enough up there to make me think that the tall men do that. Maybe they do in the summertime and then it just grows over it, but this is so thick. There's no, it's just a wall. You cannot just simply walk through that. But I saw that little V, trying to see if anything recently walked through there, and it looks like just deer. All right, back over this way. And you see that right through here, if you listen, I'll try to pick you up. I'm not too far away from the highway. Call it a highway. It's got lines on the road anyway. And I'm walking down along the highway, down through here. And eventually it's going to swoop. It's going to force me to turn left. And you see there was a couple of deer right here, and what, walking through. I'm walking backwards from where the deer came from, but they easily walk down through this mess here. So thick. They're safe in that thickness. They bed in there, especially during the day. Oof, I shouldn't have came in here. This was a stupid idea. Yeah, like I said, eventually it's going to make me turn left and away from the road. And the deer came out of that thick stuff, and I'm getting into the brambles. Let's see if I can get over this crap here. You can hear the prickers get me. And you hear I'm standing on ice now. This is the swamp. This right here. This is the beginning of the swamp. I'm standing on ice, but there's no way for me to get through there without walking on the ice, so I'm glad I got my boots on. Kyle! Okay, so what do we have here? Looks like a fox loping along. Maybe it's not a small coyote. That's definitely maybe a small coyote. Loping around. What they do, see how they drag their feet like that? You know what they're doing? They're trying to make mice jump up out of the snow. When they do that, they're trying to make mice jump up out of the snow so they can catch them. I've watched them do it out of my tree stand before when I was deer hunting. And they drag their feet on purpose. See, they don't always do it. And that is, right there, you can absolutely see that what's happening. Okay, this is where the swamp forces me to turn left. I gotta go back up into the big trees over here, or I'm gonna be walking down in this swamp and have a hard time getting back out of it because I'll have to walk through that tree of that wall of brambles. And see, this is what the mice do. That right there is a mouse track, and then they see how they jam themselves in the snow, and then they go, and then they pop out of the snow and under and out. So there's another mouse trail right there. So that's why there's another mouse trail right there. That's why the foxes drag their feet. So they cave those little things in when the mouse is sitting there. I gotta get back up the hill. I'm not gonna be able to walk through here. That's why they drag their feet like that. It caves in the little tunnels that the mouse is in, and then they jump up on top of the snow and run. And that's easier for the fox to catch them. Okay, I can't go straight for if I... Go right over there, I guess. Follow where this guy walked. I'm following the person trail at the second. I'm partially down in a swamp. And it goes up the hill right there. I really want to go that way. This guy walked over here though. Alright. But anyway, there's stupid fox knowledge. I've been in the woods my entire life. This thing's still alive. 22 minutes. And I'm guessing, Dee, that you, there we go. There's a big ass bend. That one was not made by any vines or anything. And by the way that those little ones on the top are sprouting up, that's been like that a couple of years, but something bent that down. The other ones aren't bent. More deer tracks. Kyle! Oh my goodness. Losing my voice. Kyle! Freaking tack in the tree back there. You see that tack? Can you see it? It's right in the middle of my light back there. That thing's always give me a heart attack when I first see him. Rover! Whoop! But as I was musing the other day on my walkthrough, I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking for. I've been out in these woods a lot, as you know. I've never seen Sasquatch tracks in the snow. People tracks. Pretty easy to see that this is a footprint. Even with the snow on top of it, you can tell that it's a boot. There's my boot in it. And I've been out and around and through and over every inch of these woods, hunting and investigating, and I've never, ever, until I saw that bent tree. And then in the springtime, I went over to, there's the swamp right there. And the other corner of this swamp is a man-made, Army Corps of Engineers made a berm and a concrete beaver dam that's adjustable to keep water in this thing for safety, because there's unexploded munitions in here. Here's metal. Something left by World War II. You can see very corroded metal right here. And look at that, out into the swamp. Doesn't it look very inviting to walk out in there? Until you fall through the water could be an inch deep or 6 feet deep. You have no idea. We're not going out in there. We're going to stay at the bottom of the hill here. Maybe I'll bring you back out here when it's light so you can understand more of what I'm saying. Here's another World War II thing. Don't fall on your face. Oh, okay. Here we go. Now you can see that tracks? For some reason, the brownies, we call them brownies, they're game wardens. Some of them call them game wardens. Some of them call, you know, the guys that walk around into forest rangers or whatever. They wear brown suits. So we call them brownies. The brownies, for some reason, when they come checking through the woods to make sure nobody's camping out here permanently, like in, you know, starting fires or camping, they walk through here. For some reason, they check this thing. And it doesn't, as far as I can tell, it doesn't go all the way down. They filled it full of dirt. But I'm reasonably sure, since there's two of them right here, and see, this is where the end of these mounds stop, that if they have unexploded munitions or ones that they put down in the tubes of the mortars, because you know how they go doomp and it fires it off. If it doesn't fire off, I think they dumped them in here. I don't know how far down it goes, but I believe that that's where they disposed of unexploded munitions, down in there. That's what I would do. It's all concrete, metal. And if it's 20 feet deep and with water down in the bottom of it, it would make a pretty good explosion down in there and burst water up that tube like no tomorrow, but it wouldn't kill any people. But these footprints I'm walking in right now are smaller than mine. I'm not positive that was a person I'm walking in right now. It's too hard to tell with too much snow in it, but that's a good sized footprint. Oops, right there, I got too close to it again. It's a really good sized footprint. And it's just matching my size 12 boot here. Be people prints. We're going to blame it on people anyway. But as you can see, this side of the road is very brushy. And it has a lot of cover. A massive amount of cover for deer, Bigfoot. Look at the size of this tree down. Of course, it's got a foot of snow on top of it, but there's a lot of these big old trees on the ground. And in the summertime, there'd be no way for me to see a Bigfoot back here. Especially at night. There's just too much hidey. So I go on the other side in the no-no woods and expect them to come up to the road or cross the road. I'm going to go back this way. All right, it's 30 minutes in and it's still on live, so I guess I can do more than a 30-minute live. I have no idea. This is my very first live. And Dee has 2 phones going so she can see what people comment. I'm guessing because this does not show you the comments. So I'm guessing the reason why she has 2 phones going is so she could see the comments. No wonder she always says, I got so much stuff in my hands. Yep, you do. There's another tack right there in that tree. That little pine tree right there. Most of this is white pine right here. Foxy tracks. I'm getting into the thick stuff again. I knew I would. Let's see which is the best way for me to go this way. Up over this one. Oh my goodness. This one. Over this one. Now I'm not sure if... Okay, you see this there? That right there is a fox. Jump, jump, jump. Fox did not do this. See it, make sure I can see it on my phone. See that break right here? See that break? A person walking by that, or a deer walking by that, something with hands. You know how you're walking through the woods and you grab the ends of sticks and dust them off? Like you're ever going to walk through there again? That's what happened right there. There we go. Look at this, Dee. That one is stuck up, leaned up in there, but broke off from right there and then stuck up the tree and wound around it. See that? It goes up the tree right there and then it's wound around the tree and goes back that way. There's no way that fell like that. Oh, I can see stuff that's on the other side of this tree too. Oh, holy cow. Look at that. There's a good sized log stuck up against the tree, and just that one and that one and that one. Look at all that stuff against that tree. I know that's the stuff that Dee loves to look at. But it's not big. I mean, right at the top of my light right there is the top of my head. So that's 6 feet tall right there. So this is all smaller. Not those giant ones that you see, Dee, or the ones across the street. There's another stick. Now I'm getting into the area where there's a good sized lean one. That one over there. You see that one right there? Leaned against the tree. Another one leaned. There's one, look, that one's not hooked to the ground, but it's wound up the tree. Wound around and up that tree like there, but it's not hooked to the ground. See that one? So whatever, there's no way you can tell me whatever's doing this is not intelligent. You know, they wound that thing around that tree, and it's obviously not hooked to the ground in any way, or was not ever. There's another one. There's that big one right there. All right. Now we're back on the path down here. There's part, see this right there, goes that way. Part of that Jeep trail. But now you can see why. See. There's the Jeep trail that goes that way. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, the phone is seeing out of the woods right there. At the other end of this is where I walked down into that mess, and now I'm walking out because this part down in here is very thick with small brush. It's very hard to get into. So I'm going to walk at an angle back up towards the road that they don't plow. Almost said the name of it. Not that anybody's watching this or would come and try to find it. Doesn't matter. say or do anything that would cause the men in black to come and look for me. I don't think, and if they do, it would be fun. I would love to hear what they have to say. Okay. Here is a beech tree, and I've said it before. Beech do not, when they're young, they do not like to let go of their leaves. That's how you could tell a beech tree in the middle of the woods in the wintertime. They still have their leaves on, but there's a stick upside down, see, big end up, leaned in that beech tree. So I don't know if all this, I know that all the Bigfoot through here are not going to be small, because in the no-no woods there's some really, really huge structures. Get around a beech tree. I'm going to yell again. Kyle! Whoop! Whoop whoop! Rover! That's what I call the dog man, is Rover now. Woof 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 woof! And they make doggy sounds, so they know what Rover is. I'm making the attempt. There's a deer bed. A little further down, there's a deer bed. There's a deer bed in the snow. I don't know why, but they always do that underneath a pine tree. Even if the pine tree is way the hell up there, there's no real cover for them, but they do like to bed down in the pines. You can see right there. Got a message. See right there is a sign on that road that's not plowed. So I'm not too far in from that. But you can see right in this particular part, it is out that way is like a wall of thicket. And I was kind of staying on the edge of it. But it was forcing me back to the road like I said it would. And that is one of, if not the biggest, white pine tree that's still up. Oop, I just heard stick break across the road. See that right there? There's the road that's not plowed. That is the biggest pine, and it's a white pine. They usually don't get that big. They usually die or break before they get that big. Around here anyway, because of how much snow we used to get. Don't get as much snow as we used to, but we get a lot of snow now. So here's a tree. It's been this way a long time. Bent up into that. Not broken, just bent. But it's been bent that way for years and years, because you can see that the bigger, what would be limbs, are actually growing straight up off of it. So that's got to be 10 years old or more. See how this one grew up around it? All the limbs are on the top because that's where the light is coming from. This happened a long time ago. What they did, yank that tree down. Here's another beech tree. See the leaves? So now I'm out onto the road. And a 39-minute live for the first one. I did hear a stick break across the street though. But I'm pretty sure I'm not going to see anything or any eyes because, like I said, my phone is dimmed. There we go. Back to being bright. See down the road? And then you can see that this isn't plowed, but it doesn't stop us at all. Actually, you can see my car right down there. this does not stop those of us who have four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, or anybody that lives in New York. A foot of snow isn't going to keep us from driving on this limited use highway here. You can see that they don't plow it. We just keep driving on it. I'm going to walk down the road a ways. They came along since I did that video and left D by the side of the road down here and did the video next to the no-no tree. You can see that there's a state land wildlife management area sticker right there, that square thing. They came along, the county did, and cut down a bunch of the trees that were next to the road, and that great big tree, see that mound right there? That great big tree that I did that video by is now gone. Which is kind of a good thing because they drop limbs and fall across the road here when there's a big wind. I wanted to walk down this road real quick to see what exactly is doing this. That is deer. That's all deer. Oh, okay. Let's see if I can make my light go back up to high. This other light off. Roller! Kyle! Whoop whoop! Hear echo? As soon as fall comes and there's no actual leaves on the foliage, it's just the pine trees, it echoes forever in. Kyle! Nothing. Go. Now that one's back on high. Also, mitten back on. There we go. Back. Live's at 41. So far, all I see crossing this road are deer, and it looks like, because people do walk their dogs down this road and everything, even in the winter time. Obvious, oops, back up. Obvious deer track. Kyle! Whoopity whoop whoop! Now you notice there's no tax on this side. There's tax out in the woods on this side, but there's no tax in the woods on this side. I wonder why. But it is ominous as hell in there when you get in there, and I've done the no-no video and showed you the big tall structures that are in there, and the part of the woods that looked like they had a tantrum and threw shit everywhere. That looks like an X, but it's actually two limbs coming off of a tree. When I get to the length of the tree, you can see that that's no longer an X, it's now a V. It's kind of hard to hold stuff when you don't have fingers. I wore my mittens because it's like 18 degrees out here. But people do set up tree stands and stuff on this side, even though it's very thick. But on this side, And you can see that the deer cross the road from the swamp over to the heavy pines, because this is heavy heavy, heavy white pine. Or if I'm wrong with the white pine is what I grew up with, and that's what the needles look like. But these might be some type of different stuff, because back in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, Boy Scouts came and planted bazillions of pine trees, because World War II, they cut them all down. They were cutting them down for World War II before it even happened, for shipbuilding and building. These are all deer. And then, just like Germany, they started to replant trees everywhere, because the Germans, for World War II, in the beginning, or right after World War I, where they started to build up to World War II, they cut down almost all of the bigger trees, and they started right away planting more, so they would have more. Because here in the United States, we don't understand, unless you've been over to, what the heck, why? See all them tracks right there? Like a herd of deer came up close to the road, turned around, and walked away. They did not cross the road for whatever reason. That's a lot of something came up to the road, turned around, and walked away. You can see they obviously crossed the road right here everywhere. This was a squirrel. Choop, choop, choop. Probably back and then forth over there to that log and back, off into the woods that way. Squirrel. Now, unlike D, one of the reasons I'm not scared of the woods is I never see anything. Very rarely hear anything. And the one time I did hear something and I went off the trail looking for it, they messed with my mind and made me be someplace where I didn't know where I was or where I was going. And that screwed in my head pretty good. Now there's the one trail that used to go in before they did the logging in here. It was got big rocks and stuff in there. Not that you can drive across this ditch anyway, but there used to be a big trail that went in, turned left, and went to the other end where you see all those things where my car is parked. It was just one like big loop in here for walking and bicycling, and it went from this side across this side and up a ridge. See that ridge? See that? Up that ridge and then stopped. It's kind of an overlook to the swamp. And when I was driving in here, I saw these bigger tracks. I'm not sure if these are people tracks. That's deer. Those look like boots. They did not cross, so they only came out here. So that's got to be people tracks. Ooh, my wrist is getting sore. It's starting to shake. Let's see if I can get a hold of this thing a little differently. There we go. And 49 minutes. Go back to another thing when I was walking around the woods trying to figure out what I'm looking for out here. If it's a cryptid and you don't want to be seen in the snow, and for a moment we're going to say we don't cloak, and we can't make humans not see footprints hours, days, months after we make them. somehow a human still can't see the footprints. Like doubting that. So I don't know if I'm looking for a cryptid, an alien. See, this is the bottom of the hill. That's where it would have forced me to come out anyway, right there, that swamp. This ridge that goes back, and then it goes down in deep right in there. You can see it goes downhill down into the thick swamp right there. It would have forced me to come out at the top of this ridge anyway, right here. But anyway, am I looking for a cryptid that hibernates or migrates, so there's no way of seeing it in the wintertime or any evidence of it in the snow? Or am I looking for an alien, an interdimensional being, both of which could probably unphase? And I'm saying P-H-A-S-E, unphase, with our reality enough where they're walking still, but they're not leaving footprints in the snow. All they're doing is walking to move their point of reference of what they can see to move around. It's like a UAP flying underwater at the same speed it was flying in the air, but not making any splash. That would mean that it's not phased in with our reality. It's just perceptibly, barely perceptibly there, but not physically here. That's just its point of reference. And the things I've seen on your videos, D, those things looked like they were actually really there, especially the one, the Bigfoot, that was sitting back behind that big tree where everybody freaked out where you walked right up to it. We definitely could see its head move and its eyes and ears, and we could see that something huge was sitting there behind that log. That looked as real as it could possibly be real. Yet, in a recent video, when you were back behind your park in the woods, saw a shadow move. You could see clearly what looked like a Bigfoot or some large being leaning back and forth like this behind them couple of trees. But when you went over there, there's no footprints. There's nothing there. It's very hard for my analytical brain to understand what I'm seeing when there's no physical evidence of it other than seeing it. Like, I see that tree, a big ass tree right there. I see that tree. But if I walked over there and when I got close enough to it, it either didn't exist or I could stick my arm through it and it was like a hologram, your whole perception of what reality is would have to change. And I'm too scientifically analytical to try and say that we were seeing, at that point, we were seeing a being that's not in phase with this world, but is blocking out light. You could see where its point of reference is, and it can see you, but it's not leaving footprints in the snow. It can walk right through trees. And it could probably phase back out where you can't even see it anymore. It's very hard for me to understand what exactly I'm out here looking for and how I would go about looking for something that's interdimensional or extraterrestrial. How would you go about looking for them unless, D, if it's extraterrestrial, have you ever felt like you've been abducted, lost time, have dreams about being in a spaceship, They could track you, and that may be why they send something down that kind of looks like an animal that you have become used to keep an eye on you when you're out in the woods so that they can still observe you. Or is it an interdimensional being that somehow you have attracted their attention? I don't know. But I'm out here trying to do the same thing. And like tonight, where it's cold and I was just going to do a walk around to make you feel better. I see no eyes. I see no evidence. I get no sounds. But if I play your videos really loud, especially like you said, if I actually go through the time and set up an outdoor theater for them on a sheet, and go through the rigmarole of doing that, I get sounds and I get voices sometimes, and I see things move. I'm not sure what it is about you specifically, but I personally don't get any of the evidence that you get unless it's already happening, and that's why I go in the woods. Just walking down towards my car. Gonna be an hour here. Take me a little bit to walk to my car now. But you can see down the road, they don't plow this thing. It's very cold out here. And without being able to wrap my actual hand around the handle of this holder, my wrist is about ready to give out. So there. I'll rest the light, I'll rest the holder on my other light so it's always pointing where we're looking here. All right. A lot of deer tracks. The deer population has actually risen since I noticed that there's Bigfoot here. And I know I always say it, that I'm not really positively sure that Bigfoot, or at least these Bigfoot, hunt deer. I think that if something, a population of large things that were carnivorous or omnivorous, if they hunted deer, that I would see less deer, not more. Even if they were trying to be conservative about only hunting what they need. A human being would go through a deer, even being able to smoke it and preserve it, would go through a deer about one every 3 or 4 weeks. And that's one person. But are they big enough and have a slow enough metabolism where they could just gorge themselves on a deer and then not have to hunt for a long time? Since we know nothing about them, anything could be possible. I'm just pointing you out in the woods while we walk here. Now, I'd love to bring you out into the no woods, D. Just let you see all those great big structures. And I mean personally, not on video, because I've done the videos of it. And across the road, and in a kitty corner across the road out that way, about 3/4 of a mile, are World War II bunkers that you can walk up near. Those are fun. And I actually got paranormal stuff that happened to me when I did that one. I really don't like that feeling of your head being, or your brain being crushed from the inside. That intense pain that they give you when they want you to go away. I don't like that feeling. And I truly believe they could probably give you an aneurysm if they wanted to. I've felt that when I've been in cemeteries and near some up north of here, there are old homesteads that have headstones out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, and you get near them and you get that headache too. If you start to notice it and walk towards it and get near it, trying to read them or whatever, you get that crushing head feeling. Don't like that. Nobody does. Doesn't last very long. Now that it's happened to me a few times, I understand what's happening, and usually I just go away, but there we go. That was my very first live, and without having another phone or my tablet running, I have no way of figuring out if anybody even watched it. Probably not, since I only have 89 subscribers. I let Dee know I was going live, but I know she's sick and probably sleeping by now. So there was my first live. That's where I walked in, right there. Just to show you the other side of the road where I was talking about it, and that they cleared this road out 20 feet on either direction, cut down all the trees. But it's very quiet in the wintertime. No footy prints. I've been out here bazillions of times, both in the summer and in the winter. And in the summertime it is really eerie, but in the wintertime it's just eerily quiet. So my first test for the live looks like it's an hour and 2 minutes, so it actually lasted more than an hour. I wasn't sure how long the live would go. There's my brand newy blue car, and there's the barrels. And I've showed you that the other side of that sign right there, that one right there, it tells you that it's a limited use highway and that they don't plow or sand it. This is the little parking area for people that like to walk, and they left some trails in here. And people do walk in the no-no woods in the daytime. You could see that they walk down in there. They rarely walk all the way down to the no-no tree itself and where the big structures are. They just go down in here, make a loop, and come back. But there's that giant open field, or one of them. There's quite a few of them over there. Quite a few of them on the other side of the road. Flashlight does no justice to it. It's 3/4 of a mile over there to those woods. And there's bigger ones out in that direction. I'm going to shout out to whoever made a snowman there. Thank you very much. Very nice little snowman. And that's it. I'm going to sign off and go get warm and eat some more of my Longhorn Steakhouse steak that I brought home. So you have a wonderful night, especially you, D. I hope you get better fast. And this thing shut off if I turn it around. Nope, that's me with my happy hat on out here in the wintertime, saying hello and goodbye. Love all y'all. Get better quick, D. Have a good night. Bye-bye.